Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is in your location. So we finished our album in the last video, and now we're going to cover the exterior of it. Now, I will warn you, there will be a lot of fussy cutting on this. So what I do, if you do not want to do that, if you are not a fussy cutter, that's okay. You can just leave it the way that it is. So we've done this in what I call as a rust color, and then I'm going to back it with white so that the papers will stand out themselves against what we wrapped. Now, this is the image that I chose to use to represent the face of the album. Now, there are two sheets of this. There's one in the core pack, and then there's one in the 22 maxi pad. And one has this on the back. This is what it looks like. So here's the wood grain, and then here is this. So in the 22, you're going to pull this out of the maxi, or out of the core pack. And then out of the maxi, you're going to pull this same sheet and this one. This is the one that we're going to use to cover the back of the album. And then this one, which is the one out of the core pack, is going to be used for the front. So the one that comes out of the maxi pad, we're going to cut into it like crazy. So what I've done is I've taken this and I have cut it out. I mounted it onto the cardstock. You can see a plethora of pop-ups, and this is going to go right here so that she's elevated up off the page. And then the pumpkin assembly over here, you're going to fussy cut it out, and then we're going to put it right back in its place on this side. This pumpkin assembly, you're going to fussy cut it out and put it right back. And then I fussy cut this out of the fussy cut page, and I got to find it. And then right here on this pumpkin, I did a slit for this to set in, and then the pumpkin's going to go over the top of it so that this is set in the background. And then I took out of the cut apart page some leaves, and then I took this out of the quotes and statements. Leaves are falling, autumn is calling, and that's going to go right up here. Now, I did receive a couple of brass items. They're leaves. I'm going to put one down here, and then I'm going to put the other one over here. So that's what it's going to look like on the front. Now, if you do not want to do all this fussy cutting, I get it. You don't have to, but I think that you will lose a lot of the statement that the front of it could say if you don't elevate it. But it will still be cute. At least I think so, because I love the paper. I fell in love with it the minute I saw it. And somebody asked me once, how do I go about picking my images for making the album? Well, what I do with Stamperia in their Maxi Pad 22 sheet, I don't know if you are aware or not, but when you go through here, this is considered side A, and this is considered side B. So when you look at the core pack, these two are going to be back to back. So I look at the flow of things in particular with this collection, and I am going to pretty much follow the maxi pad flow for setting up the album. I may not use all of these images because there's only 6 signatures, but I will go with the flow. And that means I'm going to be pulling not only the A side, but I'm going to pull the B side. All of that will come out of the maxi pad, and I'll let you know in advance which ones I'm doing. And then that leaves the core packs that we can use for extra flaps and filler throughout the album. All right, so then when you trim up this piece, you're going to have some long sheets. I want you to cut 3 half-inch strips. I just dropped, oh, it's gonna try to hide from me. 3 half-inch strips that will measure, let me look here before I get started, 8 3/4 in length. And then you will do 6 strips that are 3/8 of an inch by 8 3/4. And I'll show you what we're gonna do with those. So I'm gonna put those aside because they'll come in kind of last here. So this is what we're gonna play with. So let's get started. I'm gonna start with the back because it is, oh, let me tell you the other thing I did. Over here on this side is this other half of the pumpkin and the tree. That's what's going to be used for the spine. Now in my pack that I got from Scrap and Create, I did get some brass elements, and I'm going to use the butterfly here on the spine. All right, so let's kind of slide this over here, and then I'm going to go ahead and work on this. Now I am inking. I am using a distressed ink gathered twigs to help get rid of the white core inside the paper. On the back, this is one of the cards that I cut out. He just makes me smile. And I backed it on some orange cardstock, and he's going to sit here on the back. Now, my white papers ended up measuring at 8 7/8 square. So I'm going to go ahead and get some tape on this so that I can get it down on the album when I'm done. And I'm finding it a lot easier to attach everything, and like I'm going to put the pattern paper on top of this cardstock, square it away so that I don't have to move the album around so much. I'll just be doing everything all at once. And I will tell you this, it's good and bad. It's good for me, bad for any of you out there. This album is already sold. My albums are going so fast, it's just, and now I've got people that are buying them as a pre-sale. So just to let you know, you won't find it on the website. I would encourage you to get over to Scrap and Create, pick up this collection, and follow the tutorial, get yours made. I'm not going to try and make this a difficult album to build. So this, oh, I know what I forgot to do. I forgot to get my ribbon for closing this, so I will get that in a minute. So I have to put that on before I can put this down. So hold on, I'm gonna be right back. I've got to cut 36 inches of ribbon, and it's going to, what am I gonna use? Oh, what am I going to use? I think I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use taupe because it's got a nice fall feel to it. and it's kind of silky, bronzy, and not in your face. White would be inappropriate. It's just way too much. So is black. So would a dark brown. And I don't have an orange, which I think would also be in your face, so I'm going to use taupe. Now I do have this on my website for sale, very reasonably priced, so if you're interested in that, that would be awesome. Okay, let's get Mr. Toad put on the back here. I see this peeking up right here. I must not have gotten enough glue in this corner, so I'm going to address that right now. Okay. So I want to be halfway on this with it being 9 inches. That means I'm at 4.5. And I'm just going to set that right there in the middle. And then I'm going to do the same on the back side, seeing as how I'm working on this. Okay, and I think I've said this before in some of my other albums, I never bring the tape all the way to the very end, because as you're working with that ribbon, open, close, I don't like to see the gummy part of the tape at the end of the ribbon. So now which way am I going here? Right. Okay, so this is my front, so this would be my back. Okay, let's put this in. I did a very ugly trim, so I'm going to put it on the inside. All right, now we're going to take this out so that I can center this on here correctly. I just want to see about 1/16 of an inch or so all the way around. So the back is set. All right, let's play with the spine piece. Oh, but before you do, you need to cut this piece. So let me explain to you what I did. Now, where's the spine piece? Because the spine piece will tell us a lot. Here we go. All right. So off this side here, I trimmed in this way 1 5/8 of an inch. So that's what you're going to take off of this side, and that's what's going to go back here on the spine. And then here on this side, which to me is my right side, where is it? Hold on, sorry for the big long reach. This is what I took off on this side. And hold on to this because I will use this as a long tuck. Now, my purpose was trying to center her as best as possible. So this cut came in at 1.5 inches from the edge to the pumpkin. Okay? So once you get those two trims, then we can play with putting on the spine piece. And I'm going to tape the long sides, and I'll glue the ends because the long sides is what I'm more concerned about being right down against that cardstock. And sometimes glue doesn't spread evenly, and I've noticed at times a bit of a gap, and I've got to go back in and clean that up. So I can do it here and here. Okay, there's that. I'm gonna have to hurry up here. That glue's gonna set in. So this trimmed out at 1 3/4 by 8 7/8. And then this piece I'm just going to glue in. And you know, you can stop the video at any time and go back and review once again how I trimmed these out. And then this butterfly, I'm going to attach it with a little bit of glossy accents. A little bit all comes out like, just drop it right in place, gently press. All right. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside. That'll allow that glossy accents to set up. And then I'm going to pull the rest of this out here. I got to cap this off so it doesn't dry up on me. Okay, there we go. All right. So let's review again what I did. This is coming out of your statement and quotes, which I took it out of the core pack. And then these you will cut from the duplicate page out of the 22 pack. Now I backed these on cardstock so that they would stand up, be a little firm, and then you're going to trim this one out. And then the boots, you're going to do a slit right in between these two rounds. You'll do a slit from there down to the top of this green leaf so that this boot, and I'm just going to go ahead and set it in there because I want it in place. You'll just stick the heel in there and then rotate the boot so that the tip of the boot lands on the grass. And I'm not doing any I just blew it. Oh well. I'll wipe it off real quick. I put glue where I shouldn't have. Right here, I'm not ready to seal this, so I'll just take it off. Okay, so then you'll put your boot in the slit that you're going to make right here. So again, you're going to come from, for it to fit comfortably, you're going to come from the center of this round, you will slice this down to the top of the green leaf on this page. And then that allows you to slide the boot in there and get it placed. And then what I do once I cut things, I always burnish to push the teeth of the paper back down so that you see the crease a lot less. And then from the fussy cut pages, I took some leaves and I fussy cut them out. And then this, and again, this is the quoted saying. And then she was fussy cut. Now, what I do, and I'll just share with you how I get around adding this to the back, because as you can see, there's maybe 1/16 of an inch. I put this image, once I've cut it, I put this image directly onto the cardstock piece that I'm going to cut into. And I will trace with a pencil, I will trace around this image, and then I take my scissors and I cut to the inside of the trace line. And then that gives this little edge so that the orange isn't showing. And then she's just going to go right back in place. And I did the same thing with the pumpkins here on both sides. So I'm going to start. I don't need this right away, so I'm going to plug it back up so it doesn't dry. Okay, where am I at here? Oh, I was going to start taking this stuff off, and it's just a real delight sitting here picking all this off. Now, I don't know if you are aware, but when you are in purchasing your paper from Scrap and Create, you can look for their pop-ups, and they have them as well. So you're not having to go to another site to buy any of your pop-ups. You can just get them right there. All right, so this is the important placement, is this here, down here, and then just alter, change it, rotate it until it's back in place. So this pumpkin, the same thing. The stem is going to be what I'm going to focus on getting back into place. And then the rest of it should just fall right in line. And I just realized something. Oh well. Okay, put the stem back in place, rotate this in so it flattens out against the edge, and everything will be right where it should be. Now, before I put her down, I just realized I really should connect these two before I get much farther, because there's some burnishing that needs to be done. I just get to moving along, and I kind of space on what I need to be doing here. Okay. I am so excited about how this turned out on the front, and I hope you enjoy it as well. I really do. I just pulled that up, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue to seal that back. Okay, ta-da. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and start peeling them off the back. There's a lot because I don't want to see it sag because the paper kind of gives way after a while, so I use a lot of foam pop-ups to keep things firm. Now, as I move, I'll show you, as I move down this way, I started cutting these small ones in half so that I could get them down the length of this. All right, so what's going to be important on this one is down here at the bottom. We want to match this up right across this little lip here, and then you're going to rotate to where the basket is where it should be, and then she should just drop right in place. Now I'm going to turn this over so that I can burnish all of those. All right, let's put this on now. Now, this is the saying I chose. If there's something else, because I don't rarely use all of the quoted sayings, so if there is one that you prefer, use it. I just thought this was a little, I thought this was kind of appropriate. Here we are in the fall season, and we're playing with paper that has a fall feel to it. Okay, a couple of the leaves I'm going to place here. Now there are more leaves, but they're a little bit too large. And then I'm going to put this brass one here, and then one over here. This one's going to be easy to put down because it's got relatively a flat surface on the underside of it. This one's a bit bowed, so I'm just going to focus on the tips. No sense in wasting it in the center because it's not going to make contact. Now, I cut these off, but I'm just going to stick them up underneath the pumpkin. Okay. I just made another boo-boo. They may fall off because I forgot to put my tape back here. So if they fall off, I'll just glue them back on again. There it went. That was the one I was the most concerned with. Okay, I'm just going to leave it off until I get this down. Now, let's move this aside. Let's get this, and I'm going to put my ribbon on. And then I will set this in place. going to be able to burnish this with all the pop-ups. I just have to be kind of careful here. Okay. Now, this guy. Stick him back on there. And then I will move this ever so close. Okay, so this is what we have. Let me see if I can't close this. This is the front of your album. I'm gonna hold on to that. There's your spine and that's your back. Okay, now these strips I asked you to cut. All right, so you have 3 1/2 inch, and then you've got 6 3/8 of an inch. So the 1/2 inch you're going to put here. This helps to give a great break in all this color. But so this is where the 1/2 inch is going to go, and then the 3/8 of an inch will go on this side of the seam. So when you bend this up, you want to make sure that you're not putting this where it actually is sitting in this seam. I use these also as a way to ensure that I'm not making my signatures too big. Because if you get a signature that's too large and it interferes with the pages turning over or the pages coming together, you're going to be a little bit frustrated with me and with the project. So I will work really hard at trying to stay within the build space, this, and not encroach here where these are. So this tells me I've got a seam right here. So then when you flip this over, we're going to put a 1/2 inch here. And then I'm going to put a 3/8 here and here. Now you just need to be mindful of the hinges. So here is the end of the hinge for this page. So we're just going to lay this maybe 1/32 of an inch away from this seam. Glue on my fingers. Now this seam is a little bit harder to see because it's the fold for this page. But if you just look at it real closely, you'll see where your score mark is. Again, come about 1/32 away from that, not on it. And then the last set. And you'll have a little wider gap, just like we did on the beginning, because you've got the hinge to the album there. So again, I'm just going to be about 1/32 of an inch away from the fold. Now I can see this really well. It means I did a good job burnishing. And I'll set that right here. Let me double check before. I need to back this off, I think, just Just a smidgen right there. There we go. All right, so all of those are in. And our album is done. So yay. So we'll come back for the next build. And let me show you real quick where I will be going. Again, we're going to come into this 22 maxi pad. And I am going to now play with this page. So I'm going to pull this one and this one. And that's what I'm going to work with. And I will use the core pack as my filler. All right. So I will see you on the next build. Bye-bye.